Hello and welcome everyone to our risk assessment regarding a volcanic eruption in Kilauea, Hawaii by Michael Fineman, Braiden Dishman, Ethan Mayoss, and myself, Angel Martinez. Some of the core accessibility features that we focus on was clear and readable fonts, as well as a nice and overall concise theme. In addition to this, we're also going to upload it to YouTube for easier access.
All right, so this hazard is a volcanic eruption in Kilauea, Hawaii. It is an active shield volcano, which means it has slow lava flow over a large area. This is a relatively likely hazard since Kilauea is an active volcano. For example, Kilauea had a major eruption in 2018, which destroyed 700 homes, and it erupted as recently as June 3rd, 2024. Hawaii is located in the middle of the Pacific Plate. These islands were formed by the Pacific Plate moving over a stationary hotspot, and the way the islands formed and the distance between each show how the tectonic plate has moved historically. It has a slow lava flow, which covers a large area, and the volcano itself is relatively flat. The intensity of an eruption would be low to moderate, meaning a VEI or volcanic explosivity index of approximately 1 to 2. The cause of an eruption is the buildup of pressure in the volcano's magma chamber, which increases until the volcano finally erupts.
Moving into the geographical risk factors, being located on an island in the middle of the Pacific has a variety of impacts to the severity of a volcanic eruption. A huge factor of volcanic impacts is the proximity of the affected population to the eruption site. This is due to the limited proximity. This is due to the limited range of the various factors a volcanic eruption can have. Being on an island significantly hinders the ability for the affected population to move farther away from the eruption site and therefore increases the severity. Additionally, due to the volcano's frequent activity, the island endures many earthquakes. These earthquakes can trigger landslides. When these landslides are paired with an eruption, they create lahars. Lahars are fast-moving flows of volcanic debris mixed with water. Their speed, size, and force can sweep almost anything away in their path, including people, vehicles, and buildings. There is still no direct way to predict a volcano. However, there are some early warning and forecasting systems in place. One of the most effective methods for forecasting Hawaiian volcanoes has been seismic monitors. Seismologists can use these monitors to measure the size and frequency of seismic waves on the island. Those observations can then be used to predict when an eruption may occur. Moving into the social risk factors, the primary individuals who would be affected by an eruption would be the island residents, specifically those who are living on the southeast side of the island. However, due to a recent 35-year eruption from 1983 to 2018, the primary paths of lava flows have been identified. Since the local residents have experienced an eruption before, there have been many city planning measures taken place to mitigate potential future effects. In 2020, Hawaiian County released the Kilauea Recovery and Resilience Plan, Economic Recovery Plan, and Volcanic Risk Assessment. Some of these measures include investment into securing water infrastructure, improvements to the mass transit system, and creating policies for more effective future land use in hazard zones. While industries such as agriculture and business would be affected, those would likely be related to island-specific customers. The largest external industry that would be affected would be tourism.
Moving on to the impacts of our event, immediately after an eruption begins, emergency services would notify the population and mitigation procedures would begin. It is important to note that currently Kilauea is in an effusive period, meaning that it isn't very likely that there would be explosive activity that could directly endanger human life. However, relatively slow-moving lava flows and gas emissions could threaten local communities and the environment. In the short term, lava flows and potential earthquake-related activity could affect populated areas by causing severe damage or destruction to buildings and roads. For example, the eruption of 2018 caused the destruction of 1,839 total structures, including homes, farming, and industrial buildings. Affected areas could also experience a halt of industries such as tourism near the volcano and agriculture. In the long term, the government could face economic disruptions from the absence of tourism, ongoing relief efforts, and potential initiatives for rebuilding infrastructure. Additionally, the gas emissions resulting from the eruption could have detrimental long-term effects on the environment and health of the population. As lava flows travel on the island, it is possible for them to reach the coast, mixing with the water and creating a type of gas plume known as laze. This plume contains a mixture of hydrochloric acid, steam, and volcanic glass particles that can cause skin and eye irritation on contact, as well as respiratory issues. An eruption can also release volcanic gas pollution, or VOG, through erupting vents. VOG is a mixture of fine particles of sulfur dioxide gas and aerosols that can travel with the wind and be ingested, causing health problems for individuals and crops. Pollutants from VOG, such as acid rain, can also strip contaminants such as lead from the paint and nails of roofs. This can cause the contamination of drinking water, as many homes on the island rely on rainwater catchment systems for their water supply.
When it comes to Hawaii's emergency services, both at the state and the federal level, many of these services have been enacted to combat some of volcanic eruptions. Firstly, the state of Hawaii has the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, in which they are in charge of ensuring the public with evacuation plans, along with immediate resources, including first aid, updated notifications, and overall first responders. In addition to this, the Hawaii National Guard does the same, but instead of mobilizing medics and officers in the local areas, they mobilize state troops. At the federal level, USGS, in addition with NOAA, have monitored seismic activity through research and monitors. In addition to this, the Federal Emergency Management Agency also provides federal aid, evacuation plans, food, and supplies. And most importantly, the National Park Services provides education outreach and information for resources regarding volcanic activity.
Property damage and a chaotic evacuation following this volcanic eruption could have been avoided by building around the predicted path of lava flow and by preparing locals for an eruption. Since this is a shield volcano, the lava moves very slowly, which would give people time to evacuate the region. The biggest problems that should be dealt with proactively would be evacuation plans and communication in the region. I would recommend that the local government continue to educate residents of the warning signs of a volcanic eruption and teach a standardized evacuation plan. This way, people could be evacuated safely in an organized way. Additionally, local communication companies should be regularly testing cell phone towers to make sure that people's calls would still go through in case of an emergency. The target audience would be local governments, communication companies, and local residents. Local governments would be tasked with informing the people of these recommendations, and then they could pass these messages on. Educating these groups would best be done in person and through phones, in emails and texts.
Here are the references for our research. Thank you guys so much.